An Outrage Squad. Wonderful to be with you this evening. April 7th, 2019. Oh, yes, the last few minutes of Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had a wonderful, relaxing Sunday. I took the last couple days off of my rigorous Postmates schedule to recharge the batteries, ladies and gentlemen. Fresh off the stage, came back from fourth wall, trying out some jokes there, and I got accused of writing Breitbart articles because I was talking about climate change and illegal immigration and whatnot. And it's just so delicious. It's so delicious. The invasion of idiocy. In America right now, we're going to talk about the declining intelligence, the decline of the ability to think rationally, to hold opposing viewpoints in one's mind, and the importation of the loving third world migrants there, because they just work so hard and we feel bad, and so we've got to let them in. Oh, we need a lot more gay politicians. You know, that's in the news on the Drudge Report. Some sodomite named Pete. He's running for he's gunning for some power there, and his only policy position that matters is butt pumping. Okay, that's all you need to know. He pumps the butts, all right, and so he's okay. All right, we can trust him. Hope y'all are feeling good out there. Hope y'all enjoyed Clean Talking John last night. We had fun. It's actually my father's birthday today. I gave him a ring up, you know. They were out there with the family dog out at it's called the Marlin Mansion in Punk City, Oklahoma. An oil tycoon, Mr. E.W. Marlin, has a gigantic monument of a mansion that is now open to the public. It's kind of a public park, and that's where they take their yellow lab they have there, and get him some exercise. And he was rolling in the mud on the shores of the bank, and the geese were not having it. The geese were going after the dog there, and Dad had a nice strawberry cake, strawberry icing birthday cake. That's his signature. Digging on that strawberry cake, strawberry icing. I don't even know how old he is. I think he's like in his mid-50s. He's probably in that 54, 55 range. He's a hard-working man. He's a machinist in Oklahoma there. Taught me everything about work ethic. And I've taken a slightly different path. I've chosen to apply some work ethic into tinkering away at the communist ideologies out here in Hollywood and subverting the subverters, if you will. It's a task only for the strongest of will, not for the faint of heart, to get up on stage and call out the butt pumpers, all right, and the pokers and the subverters the cultural Marxists, as it were. And I've been trying to come up with a bit about Jussie Smollett for a while here. He's one of the weirder parts of that thing to me was like how there was a point where they had the two Nigerian bodybuilding brothers in custody, and Jussie didn't know that it was the two dudes that he had paid off to pull off the little hoax there. And he told the cops that he was willing to testify against whoever they had in custody. And if it just happened to be two random white dudes, he was going to try to keep that story going, baby. Lock them up, son. Lock them random whiteys up. They're probably up to no good anyway. And so I was just imagining if I was one of the dudes that got locked up and had to sit there in the jail cell while he was on ABC fake crying and shit. Oh, they said it was MAGA country and I was the gay Tupac. And I mean, is that, that's the moment where, you pull anything out you can. If your white privilege is going to come into play, you got to try to cash in the chips right there, dude. All right, you got to try to cash out. What up, cheap Jewish man? MAGA country. Oh. The mainstream media is like, thank you, Jussie. Thank you for confirming all of our suspicions. Trump supporters desperately want to lynch black people. It's all they think about. Walking around with their goddamn bleach. And so, I might have to pull that white privilege card. Or at least try to. Don't I at least get one get out of jail free token with my white privilege? And the guard would be like, do you know what year it is, son? All right. We use white privilege to shame you and guilt you. Okay. It's not real. All right. We just use it to kind of demonize you so people hate you. It's reparations time. All right, your ancestors hated Jussie. Okay, you owe Jussie. That's what this comes down to, son. And then I gotta watch Jussie Smollett put on his fucking aviator shades and just stroll out, into thinking about his next sodomy session. It's just so deplorable, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? How the fuck are we feeling on a Sunday night? Just ticked over to Monday morning. Feeling good. I got a full natty pack on tap, The Homeland Security advisor is out. Apparently not performing her duties adequately. And I think we might see some escalation with Trump pushing for that wall any way he can at this point because he's cleared the hurdles of the Russia horseshit. And so, I mean, he's got to give some red meat to his base. He's got to provide some kind of like fulfillment of that promise. Because the whole campaign was build that wall. And lock her up. And Hillary Clinton seems to be untouchable because none of the cuck conservatives, none of the establishment, muffin tops, none of the jowled up grandmother looking supposed to be men like Mitch McConnell have the stones to go after Hillary Clinton, or any of the deep state demons there that tried to unseat Donald Trump as the president. James Comey Andrew McCabe, Rosenstein, Peter Strzok, just open, seditious criminals that get no consequences because they are on the team of the deep state propagandists there, and the media will not push the truth in that direction. All right, they're not going to investigate that any further. They'll push Russia-Trump collusion every day, 24 hours a day for 2+ years with zero evidence, but plain in-your-face evidence of an attempted deep state coup. Well, we've got to talk about Beyonce instead. There's no story there. Okay, we got to talk about the butt-pumping Mayor Pete, who's running for president. Is he, what state is he mayor of? Is it Illinois, I think? Because he was shit-talking Mike Pence. And I think they're from the same state there. Or is Mike Pence Indiana? Mike Pence was Indiana, excuse me. What's up, Insane and Dumb Man Brain? What up, Rick Cheeseman? Who you talking about got the funding? What you talking about? What type of funding, baby? What type of funding? Oh, funding for the wall? Well, he got the funding for the wall in Israel. That was in the budget. The old dual loyalty congressman there, they got it done. They got it done for the Israelites. Not quite for the Americans. And, half of white America is just cucked enough to not care. What up, Angie Blaze? Butt pumping Pete. There he is, What's his policies? He's positively in that ass. That's all that matters. He's digging deep for the American people. All right? He's on that gravedigger shift, dude. He's plunging the depths. All right? He needs a rainbow tie and some Reno 911 shorts to wear with his suit, and really let's embrace it as Americans. It's what we need, all right? Because there's no crisis of masculinity. We need more feminized men. We need more men eating vegan. All right, Clean Talking John pissed me off last night. He was talking about not eating meat. I think it was off the podcast, but he was like, yeah, I'm trying to, get my abs back. I'm not eating any meat. And I was like, bro, who told you meat was bad for developing muscles? What the fuck type of nutrition, what type of Hollywood sodomy diet are you on, brother? This is not... You could eat steak all day long, man. You're going to have fucking abs of steel. Right? Arnold, I was watching Last Action Hero the other day. Dude, 1993, Arnold Schwarzenegger, that dude was eating sides of beef on the movie set. All right? You got to take down that protein, son. Helps your immune system, helps the testosterone, helps the dragon energy, helps you defeat the communist subversion, helps you defeat the cultural Marxism. All right? If we're defeating cultural Marxism, we got to be eating steak. We got to be eating steak. We got to be drinking natural light, because, if that's what you can afford. But if you can afford a fine whiskey, motherfucker, do that. All right? None of this vegan horse shit. That's what leads to National Socialism. Because Hitler was a vegan, or at least a vegetarian, and he wasn't virile enough to hook up with Jewish chicks, and so, they were super skeptical of his artistic career, and that's how the Holocaust began. Cheeseman says it comes down to quantity. Decrease the quantity and eat whatever you want. I do not agree, sir. I do not agree. I think it's about macronutrients and meal timing. This is what I've learned because I've done a lot of research on bodybuilding, and I do have the abdominals to prove it. So I mainly eat low carb, high fat, paleo style, and then that's good for just a rest day and keeping your brain long energy cycle functioning where you like eat a high fat breakfast with that the scrambled eggs, some broccoli with the melted butter and the Parmesan cheese and the garlic salt all over it, and that'll get you sustained with a little espresso for the whole afternoon, baby. So low carb, and then I have a burger and broccoli, and I keep with the protein shakes after and shit. But as far as carbohydrates, everybody has the cravings for that cupcake, dude. Everybody has the cravings for that goddamn that pizza, boy. You want to dig in. You want to get on them donuts. You want to. Everybody's got that craving, dude. That sugar is right there. It's tantalizing. I got not a sweet tooth. I got sweet teeth. All right, this is how I was raised. I was raised drinking Coca-Cola with every one of my goddamn meals. I'm addicted to that sweetness, baby. And so sometimes you need it, and sometimes you need the bread. I love me some bread, dude. I was raised on fucking breadsticks and goddamn buttered bread with your pasta and dude, all kind of glucose coma inducers. All right. I dig on some cake, Jim Desmond. I was just talking about strawberry cake, strawberry icing. It's my dad's birthday today. That's what my mother was posting on Facebook and shit. They were digging down on the carbohydrate coma. But here's what you do to be able to eat all that shit and stay fit. So you just work out on an empty stomach. You hit that caffeine. You get you a low sugar energy drink, and then you work out. You lift them weights, baby. Don't go jogging. You don't want to look like a fucking Kenyan. That jogging is for sodomites. Jogging is for butt pumping Pete. All right. It'll fuck your joints all up, especially if you're running on concrete. All right. Get in the gym. All right. Get you some good form. All right. Get a trainer if you need to for the first couple times. After that, fuck that. You know what to do. Don't be a pussy about it. Get in there. Get your squats on. Get your chin ups on. Get your fucking, military press. All right. Get the dips on. Get your weight belt. Caffeine up on an empty stomach. Go in there and do your fucking thing. And then after that, for the rest of the day, you can eat whatever you goddamn want. I go to the gym like pretty much. This is the schedule I've been on. Once every 3 days, I go to the gym. I put in work, and then I head straight over to the Little Caesars, and I sit. They don't have anywhere to sit at the Little Caesars and eat, which is a little bit annoying. But it's in this strip mall out here in North Hollywood where I go to, and and so I get me that fat $5.45 Little Caesars large. You know what I'm saying? Fresh fresh out the oven. I usually hit it up about noon. And then I grab that fucking pizza pie and I head over to the Starbucks seating section right across the way, and I sit with all the the limp-wristed latte sippers, and they watch me devour an entire pizza like a king. Okay? I sit there and I stare them in the eye, and they're like, "How is he not diabetic?" And it all goes to your muscles, man. When you get that good workout in, you can eat whatever the fuck you want after that all day long. And I polish that pizza off, and then I go and get a pint of ice cream. All right, and I throw that in the blender, boy, with that protein powder. Ooh. You got that fat milkshake going. Oh yeah, you can eat whatever you want as long as you keep it low carb with the however much you want. And props to you for making progress, man. That's cool. I don't know the kilograms, so I'm not I'm not real sure about that weight, but that looks like a substantial progress right there. Props to you, Cheeseman. You know, oh yeah, you could eat that LSD and then you forget to eat the rest of the day. That's that real low carb living. All right, that's that hallucinatory, you know, hallucinatory hollowing yourself out. All right. Oh, you be having visions of abs, dude. You just dream the shit into existence. That's that manifestation. Uh, but that's why I got pissed off at Clean Talking John, because he was like, "Oh, I'm trying to not eat meat, so trying to get rid of this belly." And I'm like, "Bruh, the carbohydrates and the sugar give you the belly. That's what the fuck gives you the belly. You can eat scrambled eggs and fucking hamburger and steak and broccoli all goddamn day, and you're not gonna gain an ounce. You can eat as many calories as you want as that shit, because that goes right into your energy sources and right to, switching you over into fat burning mode. That's why you want to do the low carb when you're not working out, especially if you don't need that athletic energy and you're not refueling. Your muscles aren't depleted, so you're just fueling your brain basically and getting your body to run on fat instead of carbs. Your body either runs on carbs or fat based on what you put into it. So when you eat low carb and high fat, you're switching your body over to running off of fat. And so in between meals and like when you're doing heavy load processing shit in your brain, when you're working on something that's cognitively, some heavy lifting, heavy mental gymnastics right there, then you're going to be using fat for fuel and getting leaner while you're doing that. And then on your workout days, you just go work out on an empty stomach and then go fucking bonkers with whatever you want to eat, and you don't gain an ounce of fat from it. Work out before your carbs, baby. I need to write a goddamn book on this shit, because it's just I'm obsessed with the. It took me a while to figure this shit out. Like, I used to do low carb all the time, and then I would have one day a week where I would go nuts on carbs, irregardless of working out. Or regardless of working out. I know irregardless is the improper usage there, as the English nerd in the back of my head corrected me. Regardless of your workout schedule. So I used to go low carb all week and torture myself, and then my cheat day would be Saturday, right? So the cheat day is Saturday. And then it'd be Friday, and I'd be fucking miserable. This is like my 5th straight day of low carb, and it's just chicken and broccoli again, and it's like horrific, dude. And the clock would tick over to midnight, and it would tick over to Saturday, and I'd be like, oh shit, party's on, baby. Let's get this carbohydrates going, dude. And I would go straight to the fucking Yum Yum Donuts, 24 hours. and get entirely too much donuts and just load the fuck up. I would almost eat a dozen of them, dude. I would try to, get as much in as I could, because I've been thinking about it all goddamn week. And I would just pass the fuck out that night. Wake up feeling terrible, but I would still get in my car and go straight to Little Caesars and get that pizza, dude. Ooh. And I would feel like a complete piece of shit the entire day. It was not a good schedule. The cheat day schedule is not a good schedule. It's not good for your psychology, because it's like, first of all, calling it a cheat day, like, I'm a bad boy today. Ooh, I'm just eating whatever I want. It's like, no, you just earn it. Whenever you want to eat some shit that you know is terrible for you, that's going to put you in terrible shape, work out before it, and then it works for you, because you deplete your muscles of all of the stored up sugar in your body, which is glycogen. Glucose is simple sugars that you put in your body. Well, there's glucose and there's sucrose. They both get stored up in your muscles, and when you lift weights on an empty stomach, your muscles get depleted of all of that and you crave it like crazy. And so it's the perfect time to refuel on all that shit and pump yourself back up. If you eat a whole pizza and a pint of ice cream before you work out, you're going to feel like a dumpster. You're going to feel like a human dumpster. All right? You're going to feel like the structure which, butt pumping Pete and his, and his life partner get down on. You're going to feel like that. But if you work out before you do it, then it doesn't even feel like you're doing anything bad to your body. It feels like you needed it, and then you're walking around fucking all pumped up, baby. What are those lights called? That's called Christmas 365. That's that year-round Christmas, all right? Because it's Christmas every day when I wake up and I get to fight, the cultural Marxists another day. Oh. It's a present every day, isn't it? Oh. When you got your principles and nobody, the person you're arguing with doesn't. What's up, AJ? Man, I just get on that straight up pepperoni. I go classic with it, man. That's that $5.48. Meat makes you smell. What up, Burgess? I don't know what the hell you talking about. I eat scrambled eggs and meat almost every day. I smell like a goddamn dream. I smell like a big pile of Oklahoma masculinity, and that's that pheromonal attraction. All right, the ladies feel it, They feel it when you've been digging down like a carnivore. All right, smells like Christmas morning. What up, Aaron Friedman? Yeah, this is that smell-o-vision stream, all right? You could smell, all right, the communist destruction. I love the smell of communist destruction in the morning. But yeah, it took me a while to figure out the workout regimen and the diet thing. But it was fun. It was fun tinkering around with it and trying to figure it out. Because I knew if I could be disciplined about my workout regimen and my diet, then I could transfer that discipline into other shit. And then once I got that figured out, I started finishing screenplays. It all works in a synergy. All right. And protein helps you not get sick too. It really helps your immune system. That's another tip. If you ever feel a cold coming on, you feel that tickle in the back of your throat, like you're starting to get a sore throat, or your nose is running, or something like that, you feel like you're about to get sick. Pound protein bars. Go to the store. Get fucking eggs. Will do it too, probably. But you could eat more protein bars than you can eggs. Go to the store, go to the 7-Eleven, get you like 3 or 4, like at least 30-gram protein bars, and just pound like 100 grams of protein and a lot of water, and put that shit down, dude, and watch. Your throat will start to feel better because it heats your body up. That's the thermogenic effect of food that protein has. Or you could go with cheap Jewish man and you could just do the meth there and stay awake and power through the sickness. That some people have that, they have that extra, Jewish willpower. They have the willpower to conquer nations and control the Federal Reserve. And so, different things work for different people. Sometimes you can just pray to Yahweh and pray the cold away, Sometimes, you know, if you feel like you got a cold going on, maybe just go in for a little extra circumcision and get a little bit of that, a little bit more of that skin taken off, you know, and Yahweh will bless you with health. Burgess knows about meth, but he's never seen it before. I've oh, right on, Testy. Yeah, Clean Talking John is fucking hilarious. Um, yeah, I've tried one little microscopic pinch of meth in my life, and oh my god, it was fucking terrible. I was with a girl when I tried it, and like I was drinking wine at the same time, and I was one tiny like pinhead pinch of meth because I had done a little bit of cocaine before, had a good time on some decent cocaine. With one tiny little pinch of meth, I was awake for 3 days. My dick did not work for any of those days. All right, I was fucking miserable the entire time. No bueno. The worst drug I've ever tried. Never do it. Worst, unquestionably. It gets the Razzie Award for worst drug. Oh, Chungus is here. Oh, what up, Chungus? Atheist gives religious advice. That's hilarious. Yes, dude. I'm all about the secular moral principles there. All right. I don't believe Jesus was a zombie. I do believe, you know, you shouldn't murder or steal from people, and that the government is illegitimate. Chungus took meth on accident, thinking it was Molly one time. That's a rough night, dude. That's a rough night. I'm glad y'all enjoyed Clean Talking John, though. He was one of the first dudes I met up at the fourth wall who I knew was cool. We just were instantly cool with each other because I went up on stage and we did this bit the first night I met him about transgender kids and how ridiculous it is, and how we trust in kids to make decisions when they're 6 years old that's going to affect the rest of their life. Like when I was 6 years old, I thought I was going to be in the NBA. All right. If my parents would have held me to that decision, if I was forced to commit to the NBA, I would be fucking miserable right now. I'd be still trying to rock it like in some subsection of the D League and just getting crossed up and dunked on and fucking swatted out of bounds and tearing my ACL every year, you know, and my teammates would be like, man, you just need to give this shit up. It's not for you. And I'm like, that's my dream. Oh, I gotta keep going, you know. That's the commitment we're expecting from these kids, dude. I want to be a boy. I want to be a girl. But why are we suddenly taking kids seriously? Like, you know, they don't want to eat their broccoli. Motherfucker, you go to eat that broccoli. They don't want to go to school. Motherfucker, you want to go to school. I want to change my gender. We can do the hormones if you want, you know. It's like this weird, like, competition of who's trying to be more progressive in the circle of the parents, like at their fucked up cocktail parties. They're like, yeah, my son, he's only 9. He decided he was gay. And somebody else is like, oh, that ain't shit. My 7-year-old boy just decided he's a girl. We're getting him fake titties for his birthday. All right. You know? And then they make a reality show out of it. It's the real trans kids of Beverly Hills and shit. What's up, Elijah? You know, taking booty pics for Instagram when your used to be little boy is walking around with back problems now that they got big fake titties and ass and shit, and creating little fucking mutants just so you can impress your psycho, you know, progressive friends at the cocktail party. Oh my god. You just created a little mutant out of your kid. That is so progressive. He is totally not going to rebel against you in his teenage years. That's just going to be fine. Horrific child abuse, ladies and gentlemen. Bert says, don't want to eat dinner, then go to bed. Don't want to go to school? Yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, sometimes you got to make them decisions for the little kids. I mean, if the left, if they could get 6-year-olds to vote, if they could legalize that, they would go for that. Nancy Pelosi would be all for it. You know, the 6-year-olds wouldn't mind her stuttering and inability to complete a coherent sentence. You know, the 6-year-olds would think everything Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says is, you know, pretty reasonable. She has long hair like my mom. I mean, why wouldn't I listen to her? We're all going to die in 12 years. They got to get them while they're young. That's why they, you know, they want that Common Core. They want you to stuff your kid in that public school, all right, and learn what's what about how the government comes and saves the day when normal everyday citizens completely fuck everything up because they can't be trusted to make their own decisions and spend their own money. That is pure evil. What up, Stephen Johnson? You must have the government overlords make your decisions for you. That's what's needed, okay? History is just a big story of private citizens being totally irredeemably evil, and then the benevolent government superheroes coming in like on flying unicorns, saving the day. Ooh, here comes the state to solve all the problems. If we could just make society all about the state and get rid of all these dirty, conniving, regular citizens who want their free exchange and free market and voluntarism. What could be more evil than an even playing field where people make their own voluntary decisions and spend their own money? Aaron Freeman's 12-year-old could write a better bill than AOC. Well, that's, you know, that's racist and sexist. Did you realize that she's a brown woman before you made that horrific, you know, patriarchal comment? I think you need to check your privilege in the comment section, dude. You're way out of line. All right? And nobody better make any jokes about the Green New Deal, all right? Because it's super serial. All right? It's like totally going to happen, okay? Like totally the planet is going to disintegrate in less than 12 years, all right? If we don't go with what the 29-year-old Valley girl from Brooklyn, somehow she talks like a Valley girl from Brooklyn. She's just a mishmash of like all of the female idiocy from both coasts. She's the perfect recipe of California ditzy and like, you know, Brooklyn female privilege. I don't know. But Aaron Friedman here, he thinks that, you know, he can just continue to fly on airplanes and think that the world's not going to end. What a toxic male. I mean, you're just dastardly. You're everything that's wrong with America, Mr. Friedman. And it's even worse that you share a last name with Milton Friedman, all right? That evil economist who talks about freedom. It's not cool, dude. Freedom? That's a dog whistle, all right, for white supremacy. All right? You know, these libertarians and anarchists, they talk about freedom. That's a dog whistle, okay, for letting the minorities die in the streets because the government's not there to save them. You're just going to take away the superhero that protects the minorities and let the roving white male capitalist gangs just oppress the shit out of them because they're not hiring them? Oh my god. These roving capitalist gangs, they're just turning people down for employment and letting them die in the street. Is that an actual PewDiePie quote, AJ? He says Hitler had some pretty good ideas and opened my eyes to white supremacy. Quote PewDiePie. Don't quote the subscriber king there on YouTube. Don't misquote. Hitler was a soy boy leftist, all right, who started the Holocaust because he couldn't get laid. He couldn't get that Jewish girl pussy, all right, because the Jewish girls were too high IQ. Hitler, you haven't even sold any of your paintings. You're kind of just eating your tofu salad and not really doing anything productive. And Hitler just flipped the fuck out. Mine! That's how the Holocaust happened, you know. Hitler was that incel. And they didn't have internet porn at that time, you know. It was rough. He was that socialist, tofu munching incel. Aaron Freeman said he loves white people. Well, confirming your Nazism just blatantly. I don't know. I tend to gravitate more to black people, I find, on average, than white people. 'Cause, I don't know. A lot of the white people out here in LA are just soft piles of gelatin who just want La Raza to come in and run the country. They're just so quick to just, a lot of them have dark circles under their eyes. They hate themselves. You know, they're eating vegan diets. They think they're responsible for slavery and for the Native American genocide, and they're just looking to get pegged by a feminist, I think. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for some you know, feminist with a haircut kind of like mine to sprinkle some meth all over a dildo and give them a nice pegging. That's what most of the white people out here in Hollywood are looking for. You know, I delivered a dildo one time on Postmates from a leather shop on Santa Monica Boulevard, and it was to a white gentleman who looked about like Bob from accounting. All right, he had a nice little button up. He was slightly balding and everything. You know, he looked real innocent, but he was about to get into some debauchery that night. I don't know what the fuck was going on, dude. He had that strap-on piece rocking. What's up, Nitai? Thoughts on New York City? Fuck New York City, man. I mean, it's so just, I don't know. I've never been there. I would want to visit, but from what I've heard, based on listening to comedians' podcasts that go to New York, it's way more liberal than even LA. And I hate using the word liberal. It's leftist, way more leftist than LA. So they're way more PC. The crowds are way more PC, is what I hear. And I don't know. I don't like the vibe in New York. I don't like rats. You know, I don't like cold weather. I don't like being stacked on top of a bunch of people. What's my opinion on Mark Dice? I like Mark Dice. You know, I don't watch many of his videos. He seems to have, you know, he seems to be rational somewhat. You know, I like his little picture-in-picture videos where he laughs at the mainstream media. It's pretty good. That's interesting, Aaron Freeman. He says overpopulation causes homosexuality in rats. Do you think that there's a correlation between the density of population and homosexuality as an evolutionary advantage? If that's the case, it might be like the Earth's way of, you know, thinning the herd. All right, because then you have the evolutionary adaptation to super densely populated areas. So then there's that environmental pressure for a generation to not reproduce, and so that might be an interesting theory as to why. You know, especially there's a lot more congregation of homosexuals on the coasts, which are these densely populated cities. It's an interesting theory there. Cannibalism as well. Well, they do eat each other's ass. All right. And if you admit that you eat ass on stage out here in Hollywood, it gets an applause break. Just to let you know where everybody's just to let you know where the values are out here. If you admit that you eat shit particles out of another person's ass, it's thoroughly celebrated. All right, let me present the outrage flow here on the podcast. This is the most disrespectful part of the podcast for new viewers. The federal outrage chancellor is going to go in the other room. He's going to present his flow. He's going to leave the door open like a goddamn savage, and he appreciates if you would rate him out of 10 on the flow. I'm going to come back. I'm going to grab another beer, and I'm going to read some comments. Butt pumping Pete. Good old butt pumping Pete for president. You don't support him? You're homophobe. Open and shut case, Johnson. He's a homophobe. You know, it's weird. While I was in there, you know, putting the flow down. Oh, thank you, AJ. That's, you know, I'll take that. 6.69. You know, that's solid. But as I was presenting the flow in there, I have this package of baby wipes on the back of the toilet, and I don't know why they insist on calling them baby wipes. I mean, they could just call them wet wipes, but there's a picture of a baby on the package, and it's just the cutest looking little white baby. It's kind of like what the leftists hate the most. It's just a cute little innocent white baby. They just want to abort it so bad. But it's this cute little white baby, and it's looking at me while my dick is out. It made me slightly uncomfortable. Full disclosure on the podcast. I don't know why they have to have a cute little baby looking at me while my dick is out. You know, do I got to put the wet wipes away in the cupboard? I want to have them there, easy access. Because I don't trust anybody who just uses dry paper. You know? Turn it over, yeah. That's the easy solution. AJ, you're so goddamn logical, dude. You keep me on my toes. That's what... I don't trust anybody who just wipes with dry paper. Get out of my house. Get out of my country if you wipe with dry paper. All right? Let alone the Muslims who wipe with their left hand. All right? And shake with the right. I don't even have to talk about them. I don't have to mention them. All right? If you're not down with the wet wipe game, you're suspect in my book. All right? Man wipes, exactly. Especially if you're a man, because I don't know, most men have some hair back there, dude. You're just asking for a dingleberry if you're not presenting that wet wipe. You know, you don't want to get into dingleberry territory. That's no good. All right. Burgess says I've always sort of wipe and then wash my ass. You take a shower every time you take a doo-doo? That's cumbersome, bruh. What do you do when you're in public? Do you put your ass in the sink? That's awkward for the person that's walking in, seeing you, presenting on the sink there. Looks like they just walked into a sodomy convention. You know? I didn't know this was a sodomy convention. You must be voting for Butt Pumping Pete. Trump's got to go aggressive on the border thing, man. He's got to send the military to the border. We've got to start building that shit some way, somehow. All right? Because he's passed all the Russia nonsense. You know? The mainstream media has been thoroughly discredited. He's passed, they call him a racist every day on TV. It doesn't even mean anything anymore. Yeah, everyday headline, Drumpf is finished. Dude, that's that wishful thinking. They're literally the front runner for the Democratic Party is Bernie Sanders, an 80-year-old communist who combs his hair with a balloon. The walls are closing in. Oh man. And somebody brought this up on stage the other day. It's a good point. Nobody's acknowledging that Melania is far and away, unquestionably, the hottest first lady we've ever had. Nobody gives her props for being the hot, and Trump props, because it reflects so positively on Trump, because he's a physical disaster. But then you look at his wife and it's like, oh my God, you're still so banging. You're like 45 and you look fucking 30. Melania's a dime piece, dude. And then we say, oh, she's a Eastern European hooker, and like, Yeah, immediately. The pushback. She's a bimbo. Dude, if Melania was sitting there, drinking beers with you, please tell me how you wouldn't go for it because she's such a bimbo. Dude, that's a chick that keeps that undercarriage sparkling clean, all right? She does not have a hint of anything dangerous going on there. I don't give a fuck what her previous activity is, what magazine she posed for, dude. That that pussy is pristine. Barbara Bush, oh my god. Did I see Yang on Ben Shapiro? What are your thoughts on universal basic income? It's an idiotic socialist fantasy. It's a masturbatory cop out for fixing the economy. It's total horseshit. Because there's this fantasy that you can tax the super rich, that you can get to the super rich and redistribute that wealth. First of all, the money wasn't distributed in the first place. There's no hand of God that distributes the money into society. People work for it, they create products, and they do services, and they earn or they don't earn. And I recognize there is corruption, there is, nepotism and everything that goes into that happens with a crony capitalist system when we have a government. But that goes right into, you're not going to be able to get that money from the super rich. That's why Amazon pays no tax. That's why Netflix pays no tax. They have a whole team of lobbyists that lobby to get them exempted from those taxes. And so good fucking luck, Andrew Yang. I don't give a fuck if you can do my long division homework. All right? I'm not going to be racist and assume that he's good at math because he's not. All right? I don't care if he's Asian. I would not copy his paper in math class. All right? He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And giving people money for nothing doesn't just get you chicks for free. It gets you a free fall disaster economy. Because it perverts all the incentives to get people to actually work for what they're doing. They're not going to just turn around and immediately start making good economic decisions as soon as they get a free paycheck. Like, no, you earn money and then you learn the value of money and then you start making better and better economic decisions, and you know, like, what risk means. You know what an investment means. You know what an asset is and what a liability is, and you learn little by little and you become financially literate, and that's when you become a productive entity in the economy. Not when you're just handed a check. That's when, if there's anything more obvious, it's that doesn't work. I mean, the welfare system has been a catastrophic disaster ever since it was the war on poverty was instituted in 1964. We've put $20+ trillion into trying to cure the problem of poverty, and poverty's gone down less than 2% in over 50 years. Not the best return on investment there. Yeah, Leo Cameron, looking after people works. Voluntarily looking after them. All right, voluntary charity is much more effective than forced government redistribution. Because if it's forced, if it's coerced, then you're fucking up the whole set of incentives that go along with how humans operate, and what fucks with our motivation centers in our brains. What's up, Drill Bay? SoCal doesn't suck. SoCal is whatever you make of it, man. You know, if you get out there and get that sunshine, if you get out there and find some big booty, tattooed up, dangerous looking black women to, philander around with, it can be a lot of fun. You know, if you get up on them stages and make people laugh at the comedy clubs, it can be a whole lot of fun. All right, SoCal is what you make of it. You know, what's an average income in SoCal? I have no fucking idea. you know, the rent is pretty hefty out here, but we're working on that. I'm the assistant manager of my apartment complex. I'm trying to work my way up to manager. We're one step at a time, dude. I'm trying to work my way up into that Jewish conspiracy, you know, because I'm German and Dutch. You know, I'm trying to put historical differences aside. I'm trying to work with these Jews. I'm trying to do cocaine with them. I'm trying to come up with business ideas. All right, and for the time being, I'm trying to be the manager of my apartment complex. You know, and I might even put on a little hat, dude. You never even know. Oh yeah, 2K a month is a lot. I pay 12.50 a month. I got that assistant manager discount. Discount if you can imagine it. 12.50 a month for a studio in the middle of Hollywood. But I'm right centrally located, you know, right by the Chinese theater and Hollywood and Highland, and you know, right in the heart of all the debauchery, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh. I love it though. I'm kind of attracted to crazy, man. You know, I like a lot of frenetic energy around me. I grew up in a small town in Oklahoma, so and I had good, loving parents, you know, and it was very loving, it was very positive, but it was, you know, a little bit boring. You know, I wanted to ramp shit up. Come out here to Hollywood, you get on the roller coaster. I mean, I don't have anything against the East Coast. I just, you know, I prefer 60 to 70 degrees and sunny year round. All right? And I prefer the women on the West Coast, dude. I prefer that West Coast living. Um, I don't know. I've been to the East Coast one time. I went on a vacation to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I don't know if that's a good representation of the East Coast, but goddamn it, I was fishing off the pier and I caught a stingray. My dad didn't know how to cut the motherfucker off. He didn't know how to get him off the line. I reeled that fucking. He was heavy as shit. It was a stingray off the coast of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, dude. I was like 10 years old, reeling in this fucking stingray, and my dad was freaking the fuck out. That stingray was flipping its stinger around. My dad was like, he was used to, you know, just grabbing bass off the line and just pulling the hook out. And he was like, how the fuck do I do that? He just ended up snipping that line. That's badass, Burgess. You down there in Florida? You that Florida man. You that Florida man I keep seeing in the headlines all the time, ain't you? I said that to a dude at the open mic out here, and he looked at me like I was crazy. He didn't. He said he was from Florida, and he was like, he was a little bit drunk talking to the comics after a show, and he was going on and on and on and on and on. I could tell he was a little bit off his rocker, and so I was like, "You that Florida man? I keep seeing it on the headlines, aren't you?" And I was just joking with him, and he was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Dude, forget it." There's always some Florida man, you know, who gets caught like throwing a newborn baby into alligators' mouths, or like fucking trying to fuck a tailpipe or something. Like, there's always just the wildest shit going on in Florida. Everybody's all coked up, you know, running from alligators. Oh, Big Chungus, he's on that Jack Daniels, you know. Well, if your name is true, you're big, and so you can handle it. I trust your instincts, Chungus. What up, Mr. Lavanya? Oh, you're right, Raw Dog. They do be popping them pills down there. They're on that prescription living. I never fucked around with that. I did smoke because I knew a wrestler dude back in Oklahoma. One of my best friends. He's state champion wrestler 2 time, in Blackwell, Oklahoma. His name was Zach, and I smoked the Oxycontin with him one time, and goddamn boy, if that wasn't a warm, fuzzy, just opiate snuggie, just oh, so cozy, dude, so warm and fucking prickly and fuzzy, and then it got real itchy, and I was like, for the next 2 hours. And I was like, all right, that was okay for one time, but I'm not going to do that shit again. Because that's a deep, dark hole you could go down. He fucked his arm up. He had an injury, and he got hooked on the prescription pain pills. And that's no good. It kind of felt similar to a lot of my homies back in high school. They used to drink cough syrup, that DXM cough syrup, get fucked up and basically hallucinate. I did that one night. I drank a little bit of this cough syrup and smoked a little bit of weed with it. Oh, Lord, that's that. Yeah, dude. That's that robo tripping. Yeah. That's that fuzzy blanket of death right there, son. You just, ooh. You might as well embalm me up. I'm like Tutankhamun. I'm just landing. I'm laying under the pyramids right now, dude. I'm just, mm. Yeah, my family used to live on my mom's side. Used to live in Maryland. Yeah, Grandpa on my mom's side was originally from West Virginia, so he was a real hillbilly motherfucker, dude. He was he used to say funny racist shit all the time. And I have a bit on stage I do about it. I'll spare you the bit right now. It's okay, but I used to go around and he had a carpentry business. I would go around with him and do these little carpentry jobs. And he was funny as hell, man. He was just real country. That West Virginia country. And that was Pops. We called him Pop. He would take me to Oklahoma Sooner games, man. He would always try to take me hunting. One time we went hunting. By the time I was old enough to be like, okay, finally I'll go hunting, he was too old to actually go walk around and go stalk animals. So we were hunting out of the fucking windows of his truck on the backwoods of Oklahoma, on the back streets of Oklahoma. And I finally saw a pheasant. We were hunting pheasant and rabbit. I finally saw a pheasant out of the side of my window, and he's like, hold on, son, let me show you how it's done. Let me give you a tutorial here. And he leaned across me and laid the barrel right on the halfway rolled down window and blew the fucking window out. All over me. It was like, and it was snowing outside, dude. It was fucking terrible. Where do I perform? The main club I go to is called the Fourth Wall up in North Hollywood, California. Not getting paid for stand up yet. We're working our way up the open mic scene. Trying to get in there, dude. I've been on a bunch of book shows. Getting good feedback, getting better little by little. I was actually booked at the Comedy Store a little ways back, but it was a bringer show, which is fucked up because you got to bring 5 people to pay the cover charge to get in and a 2-drink minimum. And all I know are broke ass fucking comics out here who don't want to go pay $45 to see, a set they probably already saw you do at the open mic. No, I don't have a Patreon. I have a PayPal, paypal.me/Outrage TV. If you want to donate some shekels to the cause out here, much appreciated. If you want to donate the shekels on paypal.me/Outrage TV, I will, you can leave a comment. I will certainly, go off and I will rant about whatever you leave there. All right, you're guaranteed a rant if you leave me the PayPal. You can leave a super chat. I still haven't figured out how to access it yet, just to let you know. Because Igor, the director of our sketches, he set up this channel and he put his AdSense account on the YouTube channel. So we had to switch it over, and it's convoluted and it's weird. You got to get to thresholds before you can access the money, whatever. Aaron Friedman, I posted some clips of my stand-up on the Outrage TV channel. So there's a few clips on there, and then there's a few clips, some video, some audio over on Nick Jordan YouTube, Nick Jordan Comedy. I'm trying to post more. I got to get a goddamn rig that I can set up in the comedy club, because otherwise I just got to hand the phone to somebody and say, hey, film this. And it's always a little bit annoying when you're sitting next to a motherfucker and he doesn't even tell you, and he's like, all right, film this when I go up. It's like, eh. And a lot of the times I'm just going up working on new shit, and so but I got a few videos up there. Yeah, Chungus, I don't know. There's some threshold you got to hit at $100. I feel like I've had $100 worth of super chats on here. But who the fuck knows? YouTube works in mysterious ways, all right? Yeah, I got the rig here that I do the podcast on, but it's suction cup, so I got to have glass that I put the shit on. So it's like I can't set it up on a chair or just like a regular surface on the wall or something. So I don't know. I'll figure it out. How to make it in the comedy game today when the speech is so strangled by the normies? It's not. What it is mostly comics are voluntarily not saying what they think is true because they think it's going to help them get ahead in the industry. They think that they got to play by the leftist narrative and dance around anything controversial in order to have a career. And that's the direct opposite of what they actually need to do. But I don't blame some of them because they're not in this like I'm in this. They don't understand what I understand. They may not have that high of an IQ. They may not be really paying attention to what's going on in society and culture and politics. But, once you recognize what's going on, I feel like you have a responsibility to communicate it. So, to the people that do have feelings about certain issues or whatnot, and they choose not to talk about it, and they talk about, butt pumping and and dicks instead. I mean, I got no respect for you. And your career's not going anywhere anyway, and you're going to be miserable because you're not expressing, you don't have a mission. That's why a lot of these, especially white dudes on stage, I know they know more than what they're talking about on stage. Or at least they have a feeling that they should be talking about something, but they don't have a calling to do it. They don't have a mission. They don't have a purpose in their life because a lot of them are atheists. A lot of them are nihilists. And so a lot of their sets become about how they want to autoerotically asphyxiate themselves and wrap a belt around their neck and jerk off till they die. A lot of it's about self-hatred and purposelessness and just debauchery and like nihilism, and it's to be expected because they haven't identified a purpose in their life. They don't have any sense of a moral compass or truth-based way of thinking about things. They don't think about things scientifically. They don't try to get to the root of things. They're just like, it's about this manipulative way of being where you're like, what's going to get me the shekels? Like, what am I going to talk about that's going to be received positively instead of just going on your own instinct and shooting from the hip, which is what everybody thinks is funny to begin with. People want to see that. They want to see you going off the top of your head and just saying what's really on your mind instead of like this manipulative, like pre-planned, like scheming thing that people do. It's not funny, which is why you go on Netflix right now and all the pre-approved comedy on Netflix, like, it doesn't make you laugh out loud. It doesn't hit you in your gut because you're like, it's just pointless. Nobody's calling out any taboos. Nobody's going after sacred cows. Nobody's like doing anything risky. It's all like this. It's like Seinfeld mixed with sodomy. It's like whatever is the most meaningless thing and the most like disgusting thing just wrapped into one. And that's what is hilarious now. How meaningless can I get? Tune in on Netflix. How little of a purpose can I have in my life? What's the deal with these people who have meaning in their life? Aren't they just so oppressive? Oh yeah, what? John Mulaney doesn't push the envelope? He's a brilliant writer. I hate the use of the word brilliant. Now everybody overuses the word brilliant. Like, oh, that joke where he talks about shitting his pants to the airport, just brilliant. And it's like, oh my God, can you water the word brilliant down more? Like, it's like racist. It means nothing at this point. All right, I know I missed some comments right there. I'm going to come back with a fresh beer. Fresh beer and some water. All right, let's see here. Burgess says, we know that the universe and everything in it has no meaning or purpose. This depresses people, and they stop there. We have pushed through. Well, human consciousness means you create your own meaning, all right? So, well, I didn't seal that properly. I just got fucking water all over my pants. Blunders of the Outrage cast. So, you create your own meaning. And it comes through philosophy, all right? It comes through philosophical thinking and getting to the truth of things, getting and reasoning for yourself, using the scientific method in your own thinking, using your own empiricism, your own life experience, and using reason and evidence to get to the bottom of what the fuck is actually going on in society. And that is your purpose, to figure it out for yourself and share the news with everybody else. All right? It's to act morally, and it's to seek the truth. And so those two things are going to lead you down a path of discovery of yourself and the world. And the merging of those two things is a lot of what I talk about on stage. And so it automatically gives you a mission. It automatically gives you a mission of self-discovery and discovery of the external world. And then communicating that becomes your mission. And there's no more motivation you need. Because once somebody does it for you, you realize how valuable it is. And you're like, oh, somebody just opened my perceptions to this whole other world I was ignoring. And there's this satisfaction that comes from it. And then you're like, oh, shit, I got to share this with other people. And then that becomes your mission, however you want to do it. If you're if you're a writer or you're some kind of, you're doing some kind of art, or you're a journalist, or you're just talking, having conversations, having beers with your friends, and just opening people's minds to different perspectives, and share the truth. Be good and share the truth. And but you have to have that fidelity to the higher standard, and that can be through religion, that can be through philosophy, but it's the higher standard than the gratification of your own ego, because that's that nihilistic downward spiral into hedonism, and it's never ending. You're never going to be able to satisfy that desire for more sex and more food and more, stimulating experience, more drugs, more all this shit. It's never ending. But when you come upon a rock solid foundation of principles that make logical sense, the non-aggression principle in itself. Just take the non-aggression principle. If you accept the non-aggression principle as valid, you automatically have a life mission to spread the news that the government is an illegitimate institution of violence and evil. How can you be bored? I mean, it's like living in the times of slavery and being an abolitionist. Do you think those people were bored? The government is modern slavery. I mean, slavery means you give up 100% of what you make. The government takes 40 to 50% of what you make. It's only half slavery, baby. Ain't we free? Oh, it's great being free. We're only half slaves, honey. Oh, shit. The Kardashians are on. Let's check them out. She got a big old fat ass, don't she? I'm so glad we're free. Ooh-wee. What's good, Alan James? But yeah, if you accept the validity of the non-aggression principle, you automatically have a life mission to communicate that to the normies and the combat the communist subverters and the cultural Marxists and all these big government sycophantic, psychopathic, nihilistic pieces of shit out here, ladies and gentlemen. You're like the butler in The Shining. I corrected them, sir. We correct them with arguments, all right? Nothing physical. It's the non-aggression principle. That's the beauty of it, baby. They don't have no argument. They're just going to call you racist. They're going to call you privileged, all right? And they're going to call you toxic. But it doesn't mean anything. And so it just becomes a hilarious theater of the absurd. That's what my life has become, is a constant theater of the absurd. And just, I have comedy material until the end of time. All right? Because my life is a comedy machine. When you have rock solid principles, everybody else looks like a cartoonish exaggeration of idiocy. That's the invasion of idiocy. It's the title of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. It all comes full circle. Yes, Aaron Freeman, non-aggression is the secret to negotiating, because once you put down the sword, then come the arguments. Then comes free market economics. Burgess says, if you think nihilism, Satanism, atheism are systems with no order, just peg out. No, under these systems, you are in control of yourself. Well, nihilism and Satanism seem to have more of a direct connection with hedonism than atheism. Atheism is just the denial of religious metaphysical arguments, which I have no problem with. I am an atheist. I'm a strong atheist. The metaphysical arguments for religion are not hard to debunk. Um, but I think giving yourself a moral mission that's secular will help you to not overindulge into drugs, into sex, into, stimulating the senses. Like, there's nothing wrong with that in moderation, but if that becomes the point of your existence, you're missing the entire thing. That's why when you have the mission to spread the news of the truth, then you have to be on top of your shit. You can't drink too much. You can't do too much cocaine. You can't get an STD. You can't go down the well of these indulgences too far, because then you're not going to be coherent enough to convince people of your arguments. You got to be you got to be not dying. You got to not have diabetes. You got to have some kind of workout regimen. You got to have some kind of energy. You got to be vital. You got to have vitality in order to, and you also want to be a good example for your ideas. If you want to inspire people into your way of looking at the world, into your philosophical principles that you live your life by, you kind of got to have an envious lifestyle. You got to have a lifestyle that people want to be a part of. That's attractive. You don't want to be 350 pounds and dark circles under your eyes and be like, yeah, live like me. I know the truth. And it's like, maybe your arguments are cogent, but I don't want to live like you, fat bastard from Austin Powers. That's not. You got fried chicken grease all over your belly button hair, and that's not how I want to live, sir. And so there's a certain element of leading by example. And to do that, you got to live a reasonably healthy and productive lifestyle. Okay, Burgess, you can say there's aspects of Satanism that go along with that. All right, but it's still like, are you really bringing anybody over to that side of the argument? Like, be a Satanist, I don't know. I feel like Satanism is kind of just thumbing their nose at Christianity and kind of trolling at some point. Because it's like, you're still believing in the same metaphysical bullshit if you're saying you literally worship Satan. Like, that's equally as retarded as saying that Jesus came back from the dead. It's just the opposite side of the same coin. Satan was the first American. Oh, dude. Satan's on that McDonald's, dude. He's on that Dunkin' Donuts. All right, he's on the standard American diet, for sure. See, that's what I'm saying, Burgess. They're just atheists. And there's something disingenuous about it and trolly about it, which is, there's nothing wrong with it. It's kind of funny, but it's basically just thumbing your nose at Christians and being like, we're so atheists that, you know what, we worship Satan. Ooh, aren't we dangerous? And then you create a metal band that nobody listens to. Please tell me you're a part of a metal band, Burgess. Please tell me you're the bass guitarist of a metal band. Oh, dude. Jesus and God hates hot tub time machine. Well, of course, Jesus would hate a time machine, because then you would go back in time and see that he actually didn't rise from the dead. What up, Anonymous Anarchy? I can get down with some Viking metal, dude. Those are my ancestors, all right? I'm German and Dutch. All right? Got that Viking blood in me. I actually was roommates with a legitimate Viking for a while, and that was a goddamn disaster. I figured he was partying for the short term with a little bit of cocaine. Turns out he had a legitimate addiction to cocaine and Call of Duty. All right, he was playing that Call of Duty fucking 10 hours a day. All right. We got a 2-bedroom apartment in Hollywood, and then he moved his girlfriend in a week after we moved in. Didn't tell me about it. And he was trying to hide the cocaine use from her. And trust fund Viking I moved in with. Rich friends aren't always the best if they didn't earn their money. It's best to have rich friends that earn their money. You don't want rich friends that have rich parents. You know. Burgess says, I can see it your way, but see it from mine. It's a screening process, and yes, I was in several bands. Yeah, dude. You're on that headbanging shit. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I know you feel me on this shit right here. This is what you hear when Burgess comes in and starts watching the podcast, dude. Oh shit. That's that hardcore hitter right there. That's what you put on when you're doing dips at the gym. Getting all satanic on it, dude. My thing is it's too easy to troll Christians. Like it requires no balls, you know? Because Christians aren't gonna do anything back. They're so self-effacing and so like, you know, harmless. Like, just keep your kids away from the priests, all right? And they're pretty harmless. Dude. Do Muslims get mad at Satanists? You know? What do Muslims get mad at? I feel like, what type of music do Muslims listen to? They listen to terrible music, I think. It's like, I don't know what the fuck they listen to, dude. What's Muslim music? I don't even know. Do they have music? It's probably outlawed, just like alcohol in their countries. No music, no alcohol. You do not look at women's titties. Jesus is a spirit. He never dies to come back from the dead. I don't know. Jesus is, you know, there's some decent moral principles there. If you read what he said, you know. I just don't believe he was a zombie. I don't buy it, dude. And I think the Christians do themselves a disservice, you know, for making people believe in ridiculous metaphysics in order to get on board with the morals. Heard about the Muslims in UK that stood up to the gays? Yeah, that was hilarious. Anonymous Anarchy, yeah. That's why I'm so confident for the future, is because the leftists are so fragmented in their thinking, and they're just like looking for anybody who transgresses against the the tenets of social justice, that it's like they're so willing to eat their own. Like it just, they're going after Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. Pretty soon, Bernie Sanders isn't going to be leftist enough for them. You know, that's going to be the last dying cry of Bernie Sanders. As he's on his deathbed, they're going to denounce him as not being communist enough. All right, he's not quite to Vladimir Lenin. You know, breadline Bernie, you weren't quite there. All right, you're a little too white. We needed an authoritarian brown person. You're too patriarchal, Bernie. Sorry. Oh, Raw Dog says, don't sleep on Jesus. There ain't no atheists in foxholes. Well, that's why you don't sign up for the military. You don't end up in that foxhole, dude. You have your residence and you have your guns. All right, that's what it is. I have my residence. I don't have my guns yet. All right, I need to get a little bit of shekels. All right, paypal.me/Outrage TV. Contribute to the firearm fund there. LA could potentially be a war zone, but for now, there's a lot of rich white people that want to keep this train rolling. Don't worry about YouTube suppressing the likes. They can't resist the chancellor. It's only a matter of time. We're gonna blow up, and I'll recognize the original Outrage crew, you OG bad motherfuckers, here at the foundation, at the start of the genesis, all right, of the defense of Western civilization. All right, YouTube in parentheses. We know what the fuck is going on. We made a whole sketch about YouTube censorship. On Kevin Bennett played the chancellor of curation at YouTube. Oh, eating them pink snowballs, dude, like a savage. Oh, Burgess, of course. You're one of the OG headbangers. You were the inspiration for the first Aussie, riff on the podcast. Oh, thanks, AJ. Yeah, that was some real method acting. I went into my transgender mode. Oh, dude, all I need is a little more meth to take my career to the next level. It's super on brand because I'm from Oklahoma. I just got to slip into that stereotype, dude. Be that Breaking Bad comic. He's that meth lab jokester, All right, we got to do another outrage flow here. We're not going to drip any more water on our pants, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to drip some outrageous flow in the toilet. Right back. Look at that beautiful white baby, ladies and gentlemen. That's who was looking at me when I was pissing. Oh my God, so cute. I want to say it's Aryan, but its eyes are brown, unfortunately. It doesn't have the baby blues like the Outrage Chancellor, you know. We can't all be perfect. So dumb, dude. Oh, that cute little baby. Oh, dude, is that a joke from the Chappelle Show Mad Real World, Raw Dog? When you in here, you sit down when you pee. That's that Charlie Murphy shit, dude. He was fucking hilarious in that sketch, man. When they're fucking that guy's girlfriend in front of him, and he's crying and beating off in the black light, in the night vision. Oh my God. I don't know, you probably weren't even making a joke about the Chappelle Show, but that's one of my favorite sketches of all time, the Mad Real World. Charlie Murphy played that hardcore gangbanging motherfucker in the real world house, who told that innocent white dude, when you in here, you sit down when you pee. Okay. Oh. Feeling good tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'll probably go another beer with you. About 100 minutes here, hanging out. Hope y'all having fun. Oh, of course I'll wipe from front to back. What do you think I am, a goddamn butt pumper? Yeah, Muslims don't seem to listen to music. I don't know what the fuck they listen to, dude. They listen to Taylor Swift and just, you know, beat off furiously, I think. Chris LaSala on YouTube. I'll do that right now. Don't fucking challenge me, dude. Chris LaSala. He seems to be pretty Christian. Breakthrough Deliverance Sanctuary. Jesus Christ is Lord. Yeah. I don't know, man. The whole Jesus shit kind of throws me off immediately. Not that I necessarily have anything wrong with Christians. It's just like, if you can't denounce the ridiculousness of those metaphysics, I can't trust you to really have a fidelity to reason and evidence, because you have that blind spot to where you accept metaphysical, fantastical nonsense. And so I respect the morals of it, but the metaphysics is just like, it's too simplistic and dumb for me. When people are like, oh, they're a truth seeker, but like, Jesus Christ is Lord. And it's like, make an argument, dude. It's not an argument. Magic isn't an argument. Magic man makes things better isn't an argument. I feel like it's just lazy thinking, you know? The majority of mass shooters, it's not about them being white, Raw Dog. It's about them being on antidepressants. I think is what it really is. It's a lack of purpose in their life. It's that a lot of them do happen to be white, and I don't think it's a coincidence that straight white males are being demonized in society, and then you have a certain section of the straight white males who are incels, who aren't getting laid because they're the beta end of the spectrum, And so they're not getting laid. They don't have a purpose in their life. They're being demonized in the media, and then they're on antidepressants. And it's like that mix and cocktail of resentment and hate, and it builds up, and maybe they're bullied constantly, and you get that explosion of violence because they just don't know what to do. And a lot of them have single mother households. They don't have dads there to calm them down. It's that whole cocktail recipe of disaster that happens with that shit. Yeah, I'm much more readily, I'll criticize Jewish people and Muslim people a lot more than Christians, because Christians at least have a universal morality, and they don't have this weird in-group preference where they like have a different moral system for their own people and people outside the religion. So they treat everybody else different. Like Jews, consider non-Jews goyim and like lower human beings. Muslims consider non-Muslims kafirs, lower human beings, and so they justify lying to them. They justify treating them like shit in order to gain power over them, which is something that Christians don't do. And so I think it's a lot more ballsy to criticize Muslims and Jews than it is. I was surprised to learn that there's a massive Muslim population in Los Angeles. That was weird to me. I did not expect that at all. There's a lot of that, Saudi oil money out here. But I go on stage and I call Muhammad a pedophile. All right? How do you like that? He married a 6-year-old and fucked her when she was 9. All right? Pedo Muhammad. I don't try to conquer by the sword, boy. I got arguments. We don't need swords. Have I seen Dearborn, Michigan? Have I seen that city? I don't know what you're talking about, AJ. Burgess says people are like the stars. It's like there's no good or bad in them. They're just there. No, there's definitely evil in the world. There's definitely evil in the world. And the non-aggression principle helps you identify it. All right? The people that use force and coercion instead of making arguments and making voluntary transactions in the free market are the evildoers in society. And they're to be pointed out. They're the snakes in the garden that are fucking everything up. And so once you have those moral principles, you can identify the snakes in the garden and, make your arguments accordingly, or make your jokes as I do. One more beer, ladies and gentlemen. One more beer. I might have a slight hangover tomorrow night, but I'm doing it for you, all right? If you want to contribute to the Hangover Fund, paypal.me/Outrage TV to buy me some ibuprofen. Oh, Muslims are all over. Yeah. For some reason, there's a lot of Muslims in Michigan and Minnesota. Some weird shit going on. There was this Muslim dude on stage tonight at the Fourth Wall. It was hilarious. he was so triggered by somebody saying he looks like he knows how to build a bomb. He made fun of some dude's hat on stage, and then the dude on stage was like, making fun of him, like building bombs, and then like somebody else, while the Muslim dude was on stage, he was like, saying that he had, long, delicate fingers that could build an IED, and he was just like so triggered by it, and he was trying to do his joke about how he likes fucking white women, and like he likes hearing them talk about how racist their family is, and then fucking them, and it's like, yeah, dude. Try that in any other country. Go into their country and go on stage and talk about how you like fucking their women, and then try to get offended when somebody makes fun of what you look like. Just these arrogant pieces of shit. Like, oh, you're a Muslim? Like, tell me how much of the Quran that you actually believe with, actually, that coincides with your behavior. How much of the Quran do you take as literal truth? Please, let's have that discussion, sir. Do you consider the pedophile prophet to be your Lord and Savior? You fucking weirdo. But, oh yeah, we're racist if we make fun of you. Shut the fuck up, dude. People can't take jokes when they believe some obvious stupid shit. Like, don't come in here trying to be sensitive. Like, that's the thing about the fourth wall. We don't give a fuck, dude. Like, there's a lot of people there that aren't politically correct, and like, we'll talk some shit. That's why I go to the Fourth Wall Comedy Club. They don't pull punches. You come in there with some bullshit, you might get slapped down, and it's hilarious. Some dude came in there last night. We were talking about it, Clean Talking John, and we were talking about it. This dude brought a date to the Fourth Wall. That's a no-no. And he came in wearing some slacks and some fucking pointy ass shoes, and went up on stage and tried to talk all this fucking, like, you could tell he wrote all this shit out and memorized it, and he was going through his monotone monologue, and he had these dark circles under his eyes and shit. Well, I'm on a date, and it's going all right, I guess. And Clean Talking John was like, ghosted. They were talking about girls just leaving somebody and not texting back when you get ghosted. Oh. And he just, at the perfect moment when that dude was bombing, he just said, ghosted. And you could see the chick in the crowd was like, yeah, he is getting ghosted. That was... You gotta come correct at the fourth wall, dude. Oh yeah, Burgess, you could try it. There's clubs in Florida that have open mics, I'm sure, man. It's not a limited piece of the pie. You can go up there and fucking do your shit too, man. Anonymous Anarchy says non-whites are conquering by having lots of children. Yeah. It's because white people think long term, and so we're like, oh my god, overpopulation and climate change, and they get all neurotic and weird about the shit. And they're like, oh, the family court system. Like, that's me. That's why I'm not married with kids at 28 years old. I don't trust the family court system. And also, I'm not farther enough along in my career to really think that I'm going to be able to get the top shelf woman that I'm ultimately capable of getting. Like, I got to at least start making some money doing stand-up, and then I'm going to meet the woman that's to my level. Yeah, I got time, Anonymous Anarchy. I got time, man. I'm going to look for that right situation. I'm not rushing into shit like I've seen many people in my life do. Oh, it was hilarious, AJ. his date, they like went into the 7-Eleven that's nearby the comedy club, and then they sat in the car and you could see them arguing back and forth. It was over, bruh. It was over. Because he bombed so hard and everybody else had a really good set. It was like only 7 people on the lineup. There's usually like 10 people on the lineup, but it was like it was a small crowd, and it was like so it was extra intimate, and he bombed so hard that it was like, and he was talking about the date that he was on, and he was still bombing, and like, and then Clean Talking hit him with that line. He was like ghosted. It was just, it was over, bruh. It was hilarious, man. He will not be bringing a date back to the fourth wall again. That's a no-no. Because if you're a bodybuilder, what are you going to bring your date to the gym while you work out? That's fucking lame, bruh. Where's Heaven been at lately? Well, Heaven, she's sleeping right now, so I can talk shit a little bit. Heaven has, she owes me $625 every month for rent. This month she paid me $80, all right, because her job was not working for her, so she quit the job. She's been looking for another job. She is not currently employed. She's been going around applying to places, man, but the leash is getting shorter and shorter, dude. It's rough. I mean, she's been short on rent for months and months and months. She owes me about $2,000 in back rent. And so she's on thin fucking ice, man. I'm almost ready to like kick her out because she brought another bed in here. We usually sleep in the same bed. We've been friends with benefits for going on 5 years, but she brought in another bed next to the bed we got set up in here, and she's been sleeping on that. She hasn't been sleeping in the same bed with me recently, and so shit is just super awkward. I'm like real fucking close to just kicking her out, because like, you're not bringing any money in the household, you're not fucking me. What are we doing? Like, at this point I just want some of that $2,000 that I'm owed back, you know. Because ultimately I want to live by myself. That's been the main goal since I came out here to LA. I want to have my own place, my own fucking domicile, and do shit how the fuck I want to do it. Yeah, I know Alan James, and there's nothing wrong fundamentally with Heaven. She's a decent person. She just can't get her shit together. She's all over the fucking place. She can't bring in a consistent paycheck. And, sometimes you got to cut them ties, man. It is what it is. I wish her the best, but sometimes you got to cut loose. Go off on your own, man. Make shit happen for yourself. We had good times together. I was homeless, living out of my car with her. We were both homeless together, living out of my car. And so, we've been through some shit. What up, Pole Meister? I ain't seen you in a while, man. What's cracking? Glad you caught me on my last beer here. Just in time. I'm breaking down some secrets of the domicile here. I'm getting real intimate. Fucking 6 beers in, telling all my roommate's secrets while she's asleep, I don't know what the fuck you talking about, Joe. You on that sailing shit. Oh shit, Joe brings his date to the gun show. That's fucking gangster right there. Heaven seems like she would put up a fight. I mean, she's a fighter, man. Fundamentally she's a good girl, but she, I'm at a point in my life where I'm not settling down with a girl like her. I'm moving on, man. You know, like I told you, I'm getting into this stand up career. That's number one. The career is number one. The podcast number one. The fucking screenplays, that's all tied for first place. And she takes a back seat to that. You know, and both of us knew fundamentally that it wasn't going to be long term when we met each other. We were just hooking up on a dating app out in LA. She was one of the first chicks I met out here, and she has a crazy family environment. She comes from a crazy background and stuff, and so, you know, fundamentally it was a short term relationship, but we made the best of it, Help each other out where we could. It just run its course. Sometimes you got to move on. Nothing wrong with that. Joe, you fucking scallywag. No, I don't love her. That's the thing. It was, we've been friends and we've been fucking, but we haven't ever been really in love. It hasn't been like that. We just look out for each other. We're friends and we fuck a lot of the time. But even that has dropped off. And so, all good things must come to an end. Eventually. There should be a sequel to Teen Wolf called Adult Wolf. Oh Lord, Steven Johnson got dad jokes. Yeah, dude. I tried to bring in this stripper chick that I know and help Heaven make some money. And I figured I could probably work a threesome situation out of it. Because I know this stripper chick, she's Egyptian and Venezuelan. She was raised in Compton, right? And she makes money out here. She doesn't work in a club. She works privately. She has her own website. And she goes to these rich white dudes' house and shakes her ass and walks out with a bunch of money. And so I was like, shit, maybe Heaven can be your sidekick and go with you on these excursions to Calabasas making all this money. They put up posts on the internet on these scandalous websites for like 4 or 5 days, and they tried it. They tried walking around Hollywood and getting some action. Nothing happened. So I had to kick the stripper chick out, and I was like, Heaven's on thin ice, bruh. Oh yeah, Egyptian Venezuelan. She's got a big old booty, and she's wild as hell, but she hates me now. But it's all good, man. It's all good. We moving on, man. We moving on. We moving up. All right. Into that higher stratosphere. I'm just trying to live by myself. That's the best time of my life when I was living by myself back in Oklahoma. I was just on my own schedule, just handling my own shit. I didn't have to deal with anybody else's drama. And that's what I'm trying to get out here. But it's hard, paying all the bills and then paying $12.50 rent on top of that. And I got a car note. Got to pay all of that by myself just working Postmates. That you got to put a lot of fucking miles on your car. It's a lot of wear and tear. It's a lot of fucking grinding to do that and do stand up every night and then come on and talk shit on a podcast every night. It's just a lot that fills up your day. So I'm hoping I can get that manager job, work my way up into the Jewish conspiracy. All right. Because if I get the manager job, that's free rent plus $1,000 on top. Well, I was a waiter, raw dog, but I like Postmates way better. I don't know, Paul Meister, you're not keeping me from shit. No, this is one of the highlights of my day, coming on and talking shit on the podcast. But the main impediment is having to go out and drive for 6 or 7 hours a day, putting miles on the car. Tires are wearing thin, boy. You know. So if I get that manager job, rent's taken care of plus 1,000 on top. Ooh, boy, that's that next level. Then I can concentrate on the scripts, on the stand-up, on the podcast. I can just flesh everything out and live by myself and do it big. And so that's that next level. I'm, trying to cozy up to these Jews out here and just wrap myself in some Judaism bubble wrap, baby. I want an agent, I want a manager, I want an entertainment lawyer. I want them all just hook nose incorporated. All right? Yarmulke Productions. All right? That's what I'm trying to get into, dude. Oh, yeah, dude. You know what the fuck it is out here in Hollywood, man. Oh. That's what it is, Raw Dog, with the Natty Light, man. That's that 15 pack of beer for $10. I don't fuck around, all right? You're gonna work your way into the Jewish conspiracy, you gotta be thrifty. All right? You gotta get into the mode of living. You gotta pinch them pennies. You know what I'm saying? Get your alcohol on the cheap, on a sneak cheap. On a cheap sneak. Oh yeah, I'm that goy boy out here, dude. They respect the dragon energy, you know. I know they want to see me make it. I just got to prove it to them. Becoming more Jewish by the minute, you know. That's what it is, dude. You can't even tell if I have a yarmulke on or not right now. I might have a yarmulke on. You haven't seen the back of my head. You know? You better watch out. You might get heavily circumcised. All right? I'm normally circumcised. You know? I got a beautiful piece, but the people at the Federal Reserve, they're heavily circumcised. All right? They get it. They get updates every week. They get a little more cut off. You know, I thought about that right when I said that, AJ, and you keep me so goddamn honest. I appreciate it, dude. You have seen the back of my head when I go to the restroom, and I don't have a yarmulke on yet. I'm not to that level, dude. I'm not the manager of my apartment complex in Hollywood yet. You know, we're working up toward it. All right? I'm studying the Talmud every night. I'm doing my darndest to learn the subversive ways of the Jew. I'm trying to learn how to debase currency. I'm trying to, open my own credit union, get into some fractional reserve banking, get into that heavy leverage. Heavily circumcised, heavily leveraged. All right? You do what you got to do out here, dude. I go to the same open mic that Lee Syatt does from the Church of What's Happening Now podcast with Joey Diaz. I'm doing what I can, man. Oh shit! I think the YouTube app crashed.